This is not even an advocate book for development.
No.
So that's the...
This is for regular folk, like
yes,
me.
But what we're saying is that we're not even pro necessarily development. We're saying think about it in your decision making.
Hi and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. Just click that button. So I made you a promise that I would feature amazing women and women you probably haven't heard of. So 90% of the conversations I'm going to have is with women doing stuff that you never thought women do, number one. And number two, you'll be like, how come I don't know her? And you probably know, but I'll bet you do not know Emma and Robin. So I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves because they have written this book. And it's the first one of its kind in Kenya. Now, you'd like to believe we've all been in buildings. So how come this is the first real estate developers toolkit written by two ladies? Ladies, introduce yourselves. I will start with you, Emma.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks for having us on. It's very exciting. And you know, we were having the conversation before, and you were asking how we got to Mjengo. So I'm an architect. I've just retired from being the first president of the Architectural Association of Kenya.
Yes.
But I still run my practice. It's called Design Source, and I do a few other things here and there. But generally, I'm just passionate about the built environment because it has such an impact on us and our well-being. So that's, you know, who I am in a nutshell.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
And then there's Robin. We can't tell the story about how we met. Yes. And I never thought, even at that time, this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
So?
Yeah, so my name is Robin Emerson, and I am an urban planner. And I actually come from the built environment space, from the place of where, how do we plan for these buildings, if we will, or where are they appropriately placed inside of Nairobi and across the country. So I'm really interested in, are we developing the necessary types of developments in the country? Are we putting them in the places where they're needed? Are we protecting some of the green spaces and the social amenity spaces? So that's kind of how Emma and I complement each other's work.
Go to Nanyuki and do that. Nairobi's already a bust.
I know. Imagine I was in Naivasha this weekend, and we were in a beautiful place, just plucked right in the middle of nowhere, and there was development happening, and that is the sprawl that started. You know how Nairobi got off, and so we really need to go back and try to start from the beginning, if you will, and come up with some feasible plans that creates the Nairobi that we want.
So an urban planner and an architect get together and say, let's write our book.
And spawn a book, yeah.
Why? I mean, now that the book is here, it makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, but why?
I mean, I think Emma and I have a similar kind of thinking about this built environment space, or even perhaps the world, that we want to see purposeful design, if you will, purposeful work that's out there. And so we noticed in working together, me in a developers association, working with developers, Emma with the Architecture Association, working with the architects, that there is, well, we were doing some advocacy work. How do we advocate for some regulations and some policies that are beneficial to the sector that then will ultimately benefit society and the people that live in these spaces? We sat and noticed that actually the part of the confusion, or part of the mischievousness in the sector may be that there's not a comprehensive book, if you will, that someone can look at it at a go
and say, yes, this is what should be happening.
Exactly. Yes. So it's kind of like when they say, if you are somebody is trying to identify an elephant, and they close their eyes and they grab the tail of it, and they think, oh, I have something that has a long, furry something on it. Yes. Then it must be whatever. Right. Yes, exactly. It must be a snake. Then somebody else comes and touches the trunk of the elephant.
Yes, it's a tree.
Yes, it must be a tree trunk, if you will.
Yes.
But then you take the blinds off, and you see the wholeness of it. You say, oh, this is actually an elephant, and that's actually what's happening in the sector per se, if you will. People are allowing themselves to be experts in a certain aspect of it, but
Which
then it
brings
leaves
me-
for the mischievousness of somebody else in the next part, because
Brings
you can't
me to page 10.
Yes.
The mischievousness.
Yes.
Who is a developer? It's not just somebody with land and some cement.
Imagine.
Because that's what people are like.
Yeah.
I love this book because
Yeah.
literally it starts with, who's a developer?
Yeah.
Because everybody calls themselves a developer. It is defined properly. The things I love about the book, the gloss,
Oh,
okay, the font.
thank you.
And I don't know who worked on all the infographics and the imagery, but it's awesome. And then the fact that you both wrote to the forward. Like, seriously.
Yes.
It's your book, and then
Yes.
you wrote the forward.
Exactly.
Yes, there's two
The
forwards. in
purpose of the book.
The
yes.
purpose of the book.
Yeah.
But, you know, things you did not understand, the sale agreement. And look, it's not complicated. It's, yeah, you've kept it so simple. So, you know, I got my copy and I was like, oh, she autographed it. I was like, oh. Then I opened it, I was like, oh, the font is not going to wear my eyes out. And then I started looking, you know, the things you're scared of is like, what is a sale agreement? What do I do? How do I get out of it? Structurally engineer.
Sleeps.
I know.
Yeah.
And the way I'm looking at it is I'm hoping that ADD at the University of Nairobi will actually ask his students to get this. I really hope.
Yeah.
You're not a UON student.
No, I'm JQuat.
So JQuat needs to get
They
this.
need to get this.
This is such a great resource.
Yes.
Such a great resource.
So, I mean, one of the things we're saying, this is not even an advocate book for development.
No.
So that's the.
This
you
is
know,
for regular folk, like
yes,
me.
but what we're saying is that we're not even pro necessarily development. We're saying think about it
Yes.
in your decision making.
Are you a buyer? Because sometimes really the
Yes.
headache
Is
is
there.
not worth it.
It's,
You know, for some
it's-
people, it's not in your DNA. Some people, it's in their DNA to build.
This is not in my
Yes.
DNA to build. I have tried. Yes.
Exactly. So in that question of who's a developer,
Yes.
that's what we're asking. Do you really need to get into development? Because it causes strains. It causes strains on marriages. As an architect, I'll tell you, when you've got a husband and a wife trying to put up a house, and in that moment where they're all disagreeing, it is strenuous, and sometimes it's easier to go to buying. So
But there's
it's
a lot of
asking
Kenyans who say it's
yourself.
better to build for yourself.
Yes.
And so what we're putting here on the table is actually ask yourself these questions. If you're a family who, like you said, we have some property somewhere, we must build on it.
Yes.
Well, actually, you might not must build on it.
On it,
Maybe
yes.
because have you made the calculations? Has the family agreed on what are the structures? Is there a business for decision making? Because when a family can't make decisions, it'll hold up the project, which is maybe way costly, you know, for the project. And so, have you decided your structures for having this project move along at a pace that will have it be completed in a timely manner? But that's not just in families. There are corporations
Yes.
that are struggling to finish projects, if you will. Do you have the adequate enough funds to finish this project? Do you have enough
Should
means?
you even have started?
Yes, exactly. Would you have
do
even
a
started? Yeah.
feasibility
Yes,
study?
exactly.
Did you do a market survey?
What is that?
Buy the book.
What is that?
Why is that important?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's how we are. So for every person who tells other people, me, I can't buy a flat, I'm going to build my own house. Here is your handbook. Here's
And
your
that's exactly how we want it to be seen. We want it to be seen that a family can come to the table and say, let's pull out the toolkit. Let's
Yes.
pull out the toolkit, and you know, and as a study guide, if you will, have we gone through? Do we all understand what chapter 2 says, what chapter 3 says about acquiring land? And so we're not just rushing into this process from some hunch that I've seen my neighbor do something. I can surely just replicate.
Yes, the same thing.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. I can
They said,
surely
"I want
just
like that."
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Well, when they built that project,
Yes.
we don't know what the market was at that time. You don't know necessarily what are the unique conditions that are at the time that you're building.
And the financing, that's one whole...
Oh, that's
you're
a whole
assuming-
other conversation.
Assuming 70% pre-sales, people are going to come and they're going to put their down payment. No, the reality right now is different.
It's
and
totally different.
Yeah, and the book has a lot of trends of what's the trend,
I
what are the
noticed.
statistics.
Yes, what are the market
they?
trends?
What
I
are the
saw that and I was
market
like, how is this a book on building? Yes, yes.
Exactly, because you're making a lot of some assumptions and saying, in like you said, 2004, it was a magic
Yeah, it was
year.
a beautiful
Yes, and
time.
people, you just start and you'd have your little floor plan and people would come,
And
you know,
buy.
like bees to honey and, you know, and buy. But the it's a different market now.
It's a buyer's market.
It's a buyer's market now.
We're going to have that conversation. So the reason these two amazing ladies are here is that they've put together the first one. And it's probably the one for East Africa. I don't know why it's called Building in Kenya. But because it is a specific to Kenya, and we are a strange animal. Yes, we are. I'd suggest you get it. I think even before it becomes mandatory reading in all our institutions of learning for people in this space. And anybody in property, even if you market property, you need to have this. Because you know me, I review property, and their clients have told, imagine I can't. Yes, I love the fact that you have the budget, but I don't think you've thought this thing through. And then you'll turn around and tell me it didn't sell. But things, I always say, never go wrong, they start wrong.
That's right.
Things don't go wrong, they start wrong. And if the premise and the idea, and even, you know, sometimes I'll go somewhere and a client will tell me, we're selling this for, I don't know, 60. And I'm like, no. No. But because I can't actually bring that out, I'd rather send you to somebody else. I can't make it happen. Because I've never taken money that I could not actually, you know, give you ROI for. Because it's my reputation on the line. Yes, I'm not a newspaper advert. Yes.
And I think, you know, the marketing pit, we do have a whole chapter on the marketing. And although it's placed later in the book,
yes.
we do, that has no correlation to the importance of marketing.
Yes.
We say that marketing is straight from the beginning. It's from the beginning. And it's iterative. You keep checking in with the market to see if you need to make adjustments with your product and with your sales plan.
Yes.
You cannot just take one plan and just say we're going to plow through with that for the next 24 months or however long the project is. It has to be iterative. It needs to check in the pulse and say, is this still what the market is asking for?
Has a policy change or tax regime, something that can just have very major impact. And going back and seeing then, you know, like she's saying, go back and check and see, okay, what's the game plan now with this announcement or proclamation? Because we're so used to that
and
sometimes.
It happens to every business. It's just that developers think they're a special breed. I do like, and it's very important that you look at this, financing your project. I love that chapter. And also the joint venture. That big bad word, the joint venture, how should it be done? Okay, so, you know, grab a cup of tea and come back, because the two ladies, Emma and Robin, who wrote Building in Kenya, and it's a proper toolkit, it's a real estate developer's toolkit, is available. Buy it, by the way. This is one of those books, you know the way you've got Long Walk to Freedom on your bookshelf? This one needs to be there. Yes, this one needs to be there. Okay, subscribe.